Sometimes life presents signals that are impossible to overlook. Minor details that appear to be random coincidences show up even when you are not actively searching for meaning. You may become aware of an unfamiliar sound in the quiet, or notice a message that almost reached you but never fully arrived. A sense of presence can surface at the exact moment you decide to move forward. In every deep connection, there is a precise stage where nothing seems different on the outside, yet internally everything has shifted. You may have been experiencing a sense of restlessness for days or even weeks. This feeling is not fear, but a subtle certainty. It is as though the atmosphere around you has changed. Memories, sensations, or the clear awareness of someone who is not physically present may suddenly come to mind. Take a moment to breathe and pay attention to what your heart has been communicating for a long time. Even if your mind attempts to suppress it, what you are sensing is not an illusion or a simple coincidence. What you are feeling is genuine. The mild pressure in your chest and the unfamiliar vibration are not products of imagination or a desperate hope for change. They indicate that the unseen bond between two souls has grown stronger. Today, I want to focus on the person who, despite trying to suppress it, is experiencing emotions they can no longer conceal, even from themselves. The true fear of losing you is not rooted in ego or a desire to control. It comes from something far deeper and more fundamental. When someone who carries your energy within them realizes they may truly be losing you, something stirs inside. It is an abrupt, uncomfortable awakening they did not invite. For a long time, this person may have moved through life with the confident assumption that you would always remain there, available, patient, and waiting, keeping the light on while they decided whether it was safe to come closer. But energy is never stagnant. The moment you changed, the moment your energy stopped waiting, you sent a powerful shift through the connection, one that reached the core of their reality. It doesn't matter how much this person tried to hide their feelings, how much pride they built up, or how many logical reasons they made to avoid facing their emotions. At some point on this journey, the soul stops following the mind. In that instant, the soul senses the emptiness, the absence. It faces the real, and sometimes frightening, possibility that you may no longer be part of their future. And that is exactly what is happening now. As you hear this, you don't need a missed call or a long message to recognize the truth. You feel it because soul connections don't follow schedules or logic, they follow vibrations. When a soul senses it may lose its home, it begins to move. Today, you will understand why this shift is occurring right now and why it affects you so profoundly. We often assume silence means the end and that distance equals forgetting. But in the realm of energy, silence often becomes the space where the most significant changes happen. Someone who once seemed cold, distant, or confused is now entering a stage where awareness is unavoidable. Ordinary distractions no longer work, ignoring feelings no longer works. Something compels them to take unexpected action. This reaction doesn't come from conscious effort, but from a deep, instinctive need to restore balance. A balance that changed when you withdrew. To understand why this fear of losing you is so strong and why it will lead to something unforeseen, we first need to see what you did. Perhaps unknowingly, you changed the rules of the game forever. If you're ready to embrace this realization in your life, type in the comments, "I am taking my power back." You are evolving too, and that is a crucial part of the story. For a long time, your energy was likely directed outward, always reaching toward this person. It was energy of waiting, questioning, and doubting. Maybe you spent nights wondering if they felt anything, if they remembered you, or if your presence mattered. This energy, born from love, was often experienced on the other side as a pressure or expectation, which paradoxically gave them a sense of security to stay still. As long as you carried the connection alone, the other person had no need to hold anything. But something changed. Perhaps without consciously deciding to, you began choosing yourself more. You started pulling your energy back, not to punish them, but as an act of love and care for yourself. The moment you return to your own center, everything changes. This is what's often called the physics of emptiness in spiritual relationships. Nature, the universe, and the human soul are uncomfortable with empty spaces. When you stop chasing an act no longer out of need, a void naturally forms in the relationship. Before, that space was filled with your effort, your constant attention, and your availability. Now there is silence. But it's not just empty silence, it's an inner absence. Understanding this difference is crucial. Physical absence means simply not seeing each other. Inner absence occurs when you no longer rely on their approval. It happens when you release them mentally and emotionally and turn your focus inward. This inner absence is what truly affects the other person, because before, you gave them the certainty that you were always there. Imagine two people holding a taut rope. If you are always pulling, the other person only needs to resist or drift. They don't exert any real effort. But the moment you let go to take care of your own hands, they lose balance, stumble, and feel the support that is now missing. That absence becomes a mirror of their own truth. Without your constant energy feeding their ego or sense of security, they are forced to find their own strength, confront their loneliness, and wonder why the world suddenly feels colder. They sense that your energy has shifted, that your heart no longer gives itself freely. That realization can shake them far more than any physical distance ever could. Emotional absence carries more weight than verbal silence. Someone can get used to you not messaging or to periods of quiet, but they cannot get used to losing that special place in your inner world. At this point, the law of balance takes over. By withdrawing your attention, you stop pushing. When you stop pushing, the other person stops running. Nothing remains for them to defend against. When their protective walls fall, they face their own feelings. Life, in essence, says they are now ready for what truly belongs to them to emerge. But this growth comes through discomfort. The void you leave demands to be filled. Since you no longer fill it with small efforts, only they can fill it. That is why you feel restlessness now. That is why you sense their energy seeking you. Even if they remain silent, they are unsettled internally. They begin to notice what they once ignored and reflect on what they had taken for granted. Your energetic withdrawal didn't sever the connection. Instead, it removed the noise and left this person alone with a truth they had been avoiding for a long time. This truth acts like a mirror, reflecting not only your own reality, but also the parts of themselves they have kept hidden in the shadows. To understand why this person is reacting now, and not earlier, we need to explore what is known as the shadow and the mirror. Every individual carries a shadow inside, a hidden bag where they store everything they do not want to acknowledge about themselves. This is where fears and insecurities reside, but also the capacity for love. If this person was hurt in the past when you pulled away or acted distant, their reaction wasn't truly about you. It was about their own shadow. The fear of losing you now surfaces to reveal something that has always existed, but was buried beneath old wounds. When you were present and pursuing them, you served as a container for their inner struggles. If they feared closeness, they could convince themselves that you were too intense, or that the timing was wrong. Your presence became a way to justify their fears. Now that you have stepped back, you have removed the screen where they played their inner movie. They are left alone in the theater. The film continues, But this time, they see themselves as both hero and villain. They are forced to confront parts of themselves they never wanted to face. This process is intense, but there is a compelling explanation for why they feel they are losing you specifically, not just anyone. Deep within, you symbolize an image of their own soul. It is said that we search externally for what we have lost internally. Your energy and the way you express love reflect a part of themselves that they have kept hidden. You might embody the vulnerability they never allow themselves to show. You could represent the peace their chaotic world craves. That's why when you leave, it's not only the absence of a partner they feel, it's as if a crucial part of their own identity is being taken away. Their fear of losing you is not about controlling you. It's an awakening. It's the recognition that no one else can replace you. They start to understand that what they shared with you won't occur with anyone else. This awareness carries weight. It is heavy because it reveals what truly matters among everything that once seemed stable in their life. The part of them that once told them to run for safety now quietly suggests that real safety existed in the connection they ignored. They realize that it was often not a lack of love, but a struggle to handle their feelings. This inner conflict is a quiet battle between the ego, which seeks control, and the deeper self which sees purpose in you. When someone lives in fear, they act indifferent. But when the soul senses the risk of loss, fear loses its grip. What truly matters rises to the surface. This important part of them now revisits memories, reflecting on words that once seemed minor. They recall small moments that now feel like key pieces of a larger puzzle. Life seems to show them, in slow motion, what they failed to appreciate. This realization doesn't bring immediate peace, it creates tension and inner struggle. They feel torn. On one side, their old self wants to maintain distance. On the other, a deeper force pulls them toward you. This inner division and the feeling of separation trigger behaviors beyond simple sadness. What they are experiencing is a crisis of transformation. Even if they try to mask it with normal behavior, subtle signs are evident. From the outside, everything might seem unchanged. You might see them working or attending events, but this surface image is fragile. Inside, they are experiencing real turmoil. The person who once fled from emotions now discovers that you cannot escape what you carry within. Their restlessness is no longer a minor annoyance. It has become a persistent presence that disrupts their peace. One of the clearest indicators of this awakening is a change in sleep patterns. They may struggle to sleep or wake suddenly in the early hours, often between 3 and 4 a.m., the time when the mind's defenses are at their weakest. When the rational mind rests, the inner self begins to express what remained unspoken during the day. They wake with a tightness in their chest and a sense of fear that has no clear logical source, only an emotional one. In these quiet, heavy moments, their thoughts consistently turn toward you. Distractions no longer work. Right there, the weight of your absence feels tangible and intense. This internal disorder does not exist only at night. During the day, their own mind works against them. Thoughts of you interrupt their concentration while they are driving or speaking with someone else. Without warning, an image of you surfaces. It is not intentional, but a memory that enters their awareness on its own. What stands out is that they do not recall the arguments or the practical reasons that led to distance. Instead, they remember the comfort, the shared laughter, and the sense of safety you once provided. Their memory slowly reshapes the past, removing justifications and leaving only the reality of the connection. This reflection is painful because it contrasts sharply with their present life, where you are no longer participating in that bond. In today's world, this inner conflict often appears through digital behavior. Since pride still prevents them from reaching out directly, they look for relief by observing you online. It is very possible that you have sensed or noticed their digital presence. They do not comment or react, because doing so would require admitting your importance. Still, they watch. They view your stories and check your online status, hoping to feel a trace of your presence. This behavior goes beyond simple interest. It is a need to confirm that you still exist within their emotional world. When they see you appearing content or at peace, they experience both comfort and unease. There is relief in knowing you are still there and fear in realizing that you are moving forward without them. This quiet observation becomes their way of maintaining a connection while avoiding emotional exposure. Yet, this only makes them want more. Seeing you without being able to reach you deepens their sense of emptiness. They search for signs that you are still waiting. But when they sense your growing independence, their fear intensifies. They are forced to confront the reality that their time is limited. This inner turmoil becomes so strong that it spills outward. Energy behaves like water. When it is blocked, it finds another path. Since the physical path is closed, their pain and longing move through invisible channels. You stop being just an observer and begin to feel their awakening in your own body. In these deep connections, the line between what you feel and what they feel becomes blurred. Things occur that the mind cannot explain, yet the heart understands. We have now entered a mysterious aspect of profound connections. To make sense of what is happening, remember that while you are separate individuals, your spirits share a common space. Picture an underground lake connecting both your wells. When one person throws a stone, the ripples reach the other side instantly. Distance or blocked communication doesn't matter. The vibration travels immediately. Perhaps you have experienced sudden mood shifts without any clear reason. Maybe you were calm, and then a wave of sadness or unexplained fear arose in your stomach. Know that these feelings often do not belong to you. You are like an antenna, receiving the other person's emotional storm. That sadness reflects their pain from the loss. The fear signals their worry that it may be too late. The wave of love is the moment their defenses fall and they miss you fully. This emotional resonance proves the bond is alive. The invisible red thread has not broken. Now that you have stopped chasing, it sends pure, unfiltered information. Life confirms this through synchronicities. The universe acts as a mirror. Suddenly, their name starts appearing in unexpected places. You hear a song at the exact moment you consider letting go. You notice repeating numbers like 1111 or 222. These are signs of alignment, confirming that the process is real and you are not imagining it. Even your dreams become a meeting ground. During the day, their ego struggles for control, but in sleep it relaxes. It's common to dream of them vividly. These dreams often feel more real than waking life. In them, communication flows naturally. Hugs are shared, apologies are exchanged. These are genuine encounters where your souls are processing things ahead of real-world events. I invite you to reflect on your own experiences. If you have felt emotions that weren't yours or noticed their name everywhere, share it by simply writing, "I perceive it." Doing this confirms your intuition is accurate. All these signs exist to prepare you. They don't appear to hurt you with memories, but to show that the energy is reaching a tipping point. Pressure is at its peak. The resistance they have maintained for so long is weakening under the force of their feelings. This stage is crucial. Before the wall breaks and the energy flows toward you, you might encounter one final confusing moment. Just before sunrise, the night is darkest. Just before someone yields to love, the ego launches its most intense and deceptive battle. This period is often the most confusing and painful. Many people lose faith and step away right before the miracle occurs. Even with signs pointing one way, The outer world may show the opposite of what you feel. You may notice them pulling away, becoming colder or harsher. They might block you or act overly happy in public as if you don't exist. This behavior doesn't mean they've forgotten you. Instead, it signals that their inner walls are breaking. Think of a rubber band to snap forward. It must first be stretched to its limit. What you see now is that final tension. Their ego senses a serious threat. It knows it is losing to love and fears losing you. In response, the ego acts defensively, creating calm before the storm. This person isn't fighting you, they're battling themselves. Their coldness is a desperate defense, an attempt to convince both themselves and you that they don't need you. Admitting they do would mean admitting fear and error. This is your test. Life asks whether you trust your eyes or your heart. Chasing them now relieves the pressure and lets them retreat into comfort. Remaining calm allows the tension to work. This stage is deceptive. The quieter they appear outwardly, the louder the inner struggle. They are living a conflict they cannot endure. Every part of them wants you, while their mind insists on keeping distance. It is an inner war. Pretending not to care takes immense energy. No one can maintain that mask indefinitely. The connection between souls is like water held behind a dam. You can build higher walls fueled by pride, but if love continues to grow and the emptiness left behind persists, the wall will eventually collapse. When it does, it is not subtle, it is an inner upheaval that forces them to face the truth. The person who relied on masks and excuses suddenly encounters a force greater than themselves. They realize the cost of control was too high. They have lost more than they were willing to admit. When the pressure becomes unbearable, the wall falls because the soul leaves no alternative. What follows is the movement you sensed approaching, a sign or message truer than anything before. It stems from the understanding that the bond can no longer be ignored. The truth draws them back, revealing that your presence is where their soul can breathe freely again. This transformation does not end with the wall breaking. Once the soul acknowledges what the mind tried to conceal, a new chapter begins, one of rebuilding and re-establishing communication. For a long time, the bridge between you was blocked by fear and pride. But now, confronted with the real possibility of your permanent absence, their focus shifts from self-protection to reconnecting. This movement often starts quietly, with subtle actions testing the waters. They might share a memory from your past together or ask a simple, meaningful question. These are deliberate attempts to reconnect without the old masks. They seek confirmation that the door remains open even as you stand at the center of your own life. At this moment, staying grounded is crucial. The temptation to fall back into old patterns of chasing is strong, but the strength of this renewed connection depends on your ability to remain in your power. The person returning is not the same one who left. They have endured an inner fire. They have experienced the coldness of a world without your light and have realized that their defense mechanisms were actually prisons. As they approach, some hesitation may remain, but their actions are now guided by the soul rather than the ego. You will notice a shift in how they speak and how they look at you. A new level of honesty has emerged. They may not have all the words yet, but their presence communicates a deep desire for reconciliation. This is a moment for patience. Real change takes time to settle into the physical world. While the energy has already shifted, the human side of the connection must learn to navigate this new path. You are no longer waiting for them to choose you. You have already chosen yourself, and they are rising to meet this new version of you. Their return is the result of the space you allowed to exist. By not filling it with anxiety, you gave them room to grow. Now, as the connection begins to reform, it is built on mutual respect rather than one-sided effort. The restlessness you felt was a signal of this arrival. The synchronicities were the guideposts. Everything has led to this moment of potential. As you move forward, keep your heart open, but remain centered in the peace you found during their absence. This peace is your greatest strength and the very thing that drew them back. The journey is moving toward a new beginning, one where the invisible thread is no longer tension, but a shared source of strength. Silence has done its work. Transformation is complete, and the path is clear for a connection rooted in truth rather than fear. As the connection manifests in the physical world, old patterns and games no longer hold power. You have shifted the frequency of the relationship. When they reach out, it will not come from superiority or distance. They approach with a spirit humbled by silence, having spent enough time in darkness to realize that life without your light is not the life they want. They are now entering deep vulnerability. This is courageous for them because they are used to hiding. You may notice them struggling to find words or acting unusually nervous. They are learning a new language, the language of the heart. They aim to show that they recognize your value, not just as part of their life, but as essential to their soul's growth. During this time, a shift in priorities is common. Excuses like work timing or personal stress lose significance. Their main focus becomes restoring the bond they nearly broke. They strive to prove to you and to themselves that they can be the person you deserve. They are filling the space you left, but not with empty promises, rather with genuine presence and effort. You will notice them showing up in ways they never did before. They may make plans become more consistent or show deeper interest in your inner world. This is the physical proof of the soul work they undertook during your separation. The fear of losing you sparked this necessary change. As you witness this return, remember you are the creator of this new dynamic. The peace and self-love you cultivated during the quiet times enabled this shift. Do not shrink or revert to old patterns simply because they have returned. The new version of this connection requires the new version of you. You are now the anchor. Your stability allows them to be honest. This is the time to set healthy boundaries and speak your truth without fear, because you are no longer afraid of losing them. You hold the power to create something authentic. The connection is moving from shadow into light. Lessons have been learned, mirrors have done their work, and the invisible thread has become a golden cord of understanding. You are stepping into a future where love is balanced, effort is shared, and the connection is stronger than ever, having survived the ultimate test of silence and distance.